Good morning, guys. So it's a Sunday. Let's see, 2 days after Christmas. It's the 27th. I'm just gonna do a short little video here. I'm gonna help Dad feed cattle this morning. We're not working, but I'll just show you what we do every morning. So if you guys follow along, you saw when we put the cows out on the cornfield here. And so we actually feed them out in the cornfield here. So that we don't get cow pasture rutted off. It's frozen now, so it doesn't make a difference, but it's a lot nicer to just feed out here. Hi, girls. Oh my gosh, you guys almost got killed. Yum yum, they say. At the cows here, it was a mix of some chopped clover and beet pulp. That's all they get, and mix it together. So we're gonna go back and get loaded again, and we're gonna run down the road to that barn. You can't really see it, but we've got 2 more loads at least, possibly 3. Let's go back there and see what's going on. So he just dumped in some corn silage. These guys are good. This load's gonna have corn silage, dry shelled corn out of the bin, some distiller's grain, and some pellets. And what we've got going on in here is we've got this big reel. We've got 2 augers that turn faster on that side. There's one there and then one below it. And it mixes it up, creates a TMR. That stands for totally mixed ration. I just dumped the dry corn out of the overhead here. So as I just dumped that corn in without it mixing, I have to let it sit here and mix for a little bit. The reason we mix it is so that the cattle can't pick out what they like and don't like. So they have to eat it all, they get the proper nutrition, because the stuff that we're feeding them is what they are supposed to be eating. Keep them healthy, keep them with the proper nutrition. Now what I'm about to feed here is our colored cattle out of our beef cows. They're weaned and everything, so they're just getting the silage and the corn mix. Glad you guys are hanging in there good today. We're gonna have to do some more riding though. So I just dumped off some feed for the other chores in that hoop barn, because they get silage too. Always feed them with the skid steer. So I ran some of that off, and then I'm gonna run down to the barn next and feed them. So you guys made it. We are feeding our colored heifers right now, and then we're gonna feed our new barn, our addition down there. Then we're just Holstein steers. So you just saw I dumped a bucket of calf grain into some of that silage mix. The reason for that is we've got cattle down here that are on calf grain, younger cattle, and they're old enough that we can wean them off the grain and onto regular feed. So that's what we're doing. We're not putting them straight on to the silage right away. We're doing like a half-half mix right now, so that it's not a sudden and abrupt change to their stomachs and their bodies. So I ran all that off. We're gonna head back home and mix up feed for our big barn back at the main farm. Okay, so we're trying something new, I guess. If you guys hold on to me, I'll hold on, and then neither one of us will fall, okay? You know, I bet if I was a steer, that'd look mighty tasty right now. But I'm not, and it doesn't. Going into our big barn here, the slatted floor barn, and these guys get silage and then high moisture corn. The reason they get the high moisture corn instead of the dry shelled corn like I showed you for them other cattle down the road is because these ones are older and they can handle the wet feed, whereas the younger cattle, they can't digest it. They just can't handle all that moisture in their feed. Oh, watch your head. Whew. So this barn altogether holds about 500. I don't think there's 500 in here right now. Took a couple of semi-loads out, and I'm not sure if we have replaced all of those cattle yet. So I keep talking about slatted floor barn. What that means is their floor, the floor that they are walking on, has slots in it, slotted floor, and then there's a big cement or concrete pit below them, so that when they pee and poop, it just goes right through the floor into the big concrete pit, and it's a liquid. We don't have to clean this every week like we do the other barns. We only clean this once a year. The pit itself holds about 800,000 gallons. It's 12 feet deep, so there's 6 feet below the ground and 6 feet above the ground. The barn itself is 6 feet in the air. So did you guys want to see a closer view of the oh, who am I kidding? Of course you do. Excuse me, boys. So what's wrong? They clearly don't know where their food comes from. But this is the floor inside the barn here. But yeah, you can see all the manure down there. It's down there a ways. We just pumped it a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. But like I said, they poop, pee, it goes right through these holes, these slots in the floor, and then it gets collected into the pit. And we have rubber mats on our slats. The slats themselves, the floor is concrete, but then we've got these rubber mats that you can't pick them up, but the rubber mats, it's for the animals' comfort, because it's a lot more comfortable, nicer for them to lay on rubber instead of cold hard concrete. So let's close this door here. Fabric doors on that end. No, yeah, that end's got a fabric door. This end's got a fabric door, and then on the back in the sort alley's got fabric doors on both ends too. We had an opener put in on this one, but that's the only one. We might put one in down there, but for now this is the only door that has an opener on it. Hey, hey, will you be my friend? Whoa, I didn't need the snarky attitude. This is our transition pen, I guess you could call it. It is pen number 3 from that end. We've got additional guardrail on the bottom there. So there's 2 on the bottom and then 1 on top. Whereas the other pens just have 2 guardrail. And then we also put an additional guardrail here on the feed bunk. Whereas these ones just have the single guardrail. The reason for that is this is our transition pen. I'm going to call it transition pen. But this is the pen that when we get our new cattle, we can put them in here. They're going to be a lot smaller, obviously. So we put them in this pen, and we did those modifications so that they can't get themselves stuck underneath the dividers. They can't roll underneath them. It has happened, not since we put these modifications on. And with this additional guardrail on the feed manger here, they can't come through the feed manger and get out. They can still eat fine, as you can see, but they're just so much smaller that we have to just be more careful. Will you be my friend? They're not very tame. You're not very tame. And our feed bunk here, it was poured with it's concrete. It's not like a J-bunk. Well, it is a J-bunk, but it's permanent. It's cemented into the ground or the floor here. And then we've also got, I don't think I'll be able to get down there, but we've got plastic in that. There you go. See that plastic there? We've got plastic cemented into the floor here of our feed bunk. That way the bottom of the feed bunk stays nice and smooth. Whereas like down the road to our other barn, that barn's a lot older, and we just dumped the feed right on the floor, and you can see all the rocks that was in the concrete. The concrete's getting worked away, worn away. So the plastic should help prevent that in the bottom of the feed bunk there. And coming out here, this is one of the spots where we pump out the manure in the fall. We've only done it once. This is brand new this spring, the barn is. If you lift up this cover, this is 1/4 inch, I think it's 1/4 inch plate. We just built the covers, but if you lift that up, it's a big square hole just like you see on the cover here, and then that gives you access down to the pit. And there's one here, one on the other end, and then 2 on the back side of the barn here. That way you can get the manure pumps in, and then you can fill tankers or whatever you're using to get rid of the manure. The pulley system opens the curtains that don't have the opener on them. Now this is our sort alley, is what it's called. And we've got our fountains out in our sort alley here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fountains. But this has gates on the back of the pens, so this is how you access the pens if you have to put more cattle in or take cattle out. Back the trailer up here, or a semi-trailer up there to the loading dock. But you let the cattle out, you keep these gates closed, and then they can't go anywhere, and you can continue to do whatever you need to do in the pen. This goes the whole length of the barn on the back side here. And we just put in these gates a little while ago. But we did that so that when we're sorting cattle, we can just dump them in here. Not dump them, we can move them in here, continue sorting cattle, and not have to worry about them getting out the ends or anything. This kind of looks funny. If you're wondering, we've got, it's just like a chain link fence kind of. That way the cattle, they can't lick at this curtain when it's down. They can't lick this. When it is down, they like to lick it, and that puts a hole in the curtain, and then the curtains, well, that kind of defeats the purpose of having it. And then instead of walls or like steel on the sides of the barn and the ends, we've got these curtains It's much more practical. You can roll them up to get more airflow. There's curtains, they're split in half, so the curtain up there and then curtain down there. You can roll the top one and not the bottom one, or vice versa. That gets more air movement through the barn. It's better for the cattle, it's healthier. And then, like I said, we have it on the ends here too, and then both sides. Then up there, see that white plastic pipe? That in the summer normally connects to the eave trough that's right there coming off the roof. And then it just dumps the water right into the slats here, because you need water added to steer manure, like beef cattle manure, because it's much thicker than dairy cattle manure. It can't be pumped as well, so you have to water it down, dilute it down. So while I'm at it, I suppose I'll come show you another style barn that we've got. We've got a hoop barn here. It's got fabric or vinyl over the roof here. Then it's got tubes. This all came out as a kit, but then it's got tubes that are arched. It comes over and it connects to this side, and then you just pull this roof, the fabric, vinyl, whatever you want to call it, you pull it over, and then you fasten it down here with this ratchet deal. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. And in this barn here, we've got more of our colored cattle, or colored calves out of our cows, heifers and steers. This barn is set up for 40 cattle. In this barn, we've got gates. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different pens we can make. We've got cameras in this barn right there on the pole, and then there's one down there as well. And then we've got an app on our phones. We can watch cattle or check on them or whatever from wherever we want, basically. We've got cameras in 2 of our other barns. And coming out here, we've got a little outside run, I guess you could call it. They can come out here. We've got guardrail up on the outsides. Hey, do you want to be my... That was a quick no. And this guardrail, what I keep talking about, this is just stuff that you'd see on the road. We didn't take it. We bought it. But it's the same thing that you'd see on the side of a road going over a bridge or something. We got that out of Tennessee, used, so works really good. And then on the back side and on the other end as well, we've got these curtains. Then you can just, oh boy, that's done wrecked. That's supposed to be straight. But you can roll these up in the summertime, or even if it's nice out in the winter. But when it's cold out, windy, you keep them closed for the most part. Keep them protected from the elements, keep elements from getting into the barn and ruining your bedding. But then the rest of our barns that we've got cattle in, they're just your typical pole barn with tin on the sides and the roof. But we've got a chain here, just a safety precaution, because cattle are sneaky like that. And for feeders, we've just got this dual wall tile bolted to the boards here. 2 fountains outside here. Little awning, protect the feed a little bit. We've got this big barn over here. It's got curtains on this side, but that's just your regular typical pole barn. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this little tour, short little video. But I'm gonna go fill the wood stove and hopefully relax for the rest of the day. It's Sunday. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.